Hey gardeners, I'm sitting outside on my deck right now on a beautiful Sunday afternoon while my family is out boating because I have piles and mountains of produce to process, and it's an amazing abundance and so much work. So I thought I would do a video now to show what I am doing, to one of the things I'm doing now to prepare for fall, and that is getting my calendula oil going. So if you live in the Northeast or any place where you're wearing those moisture wicking gloves, you know about dry skin and those cracked fingernails and how awful that all can be. And because those gloves they wick moisture away from your body. So if you have moisture in your hands, they're wicking it out of your skin too. So calendula is one of the most amazing plants, garden herb, that is so easy to grow. It is an annual, but it re-sows itself very easily. So once you plant it, and if you let some go to seed, which invariably it will, you will have calendula always coming back, and it is a great plant. It's totally edible. It makes a lovely sprinkled, the petals on top of, like a cream cheese frosting on top of a dessert, and sprinkle some of these petals on top. It looks beautiful. I put some on my son's chocolate cake last March. They kind of blended in a little bit with the chocolate, but a couple people noticed and thought it was really cool to have some dried flower petals. So I picked this and I rubber banded it into little bundles, and I hung it to dry to get it to a point where these the dried petals on there, I can just pick them off, and they're very light. They just kind of blow and sift off of there. They're not quite as delicate as saffron, but I would say that they're up there with the labor of like picking little petals off of plants. But it is so beautiful and it adds so much joy. They're also really beneficial as well. They're really great at just kind of like moisturizing everything. So I add them to tea, like I said, sprinkle them on desserts. You can add them to salads, fresh or dry. So what I'm doing right now with these ones that have been drying, they're not totally dry, they're still a little bit sticky. So when you pick calendula, you'll really feel the sticky resinous aspect of that, and that is what works to absorb into our skin topically in an infused oil, which is what we are making right now. So I picked a bunch of the petals off and put them in a bowl aside that I'm gonna have dried, and I'll show you a picture of that. Oil. So with all of these, I put the flowers in a bowl, and then I chopped them up with scissors to make them into kind of like, if you will, bite-sized pieces that I'm now going to stuff into this jar. Get it all in there, and this is the leaves, the stems, and the flowers go into the infused oil that I make with calendula. So that is about 3/4 full with not so fresh plant material. The reason you don't want fresh plant material is because fresh plant material has a lot of water in it, and when you mix water and oil and let it sit for an amount of time, it's much quicker to go rancid. So you want to let a lot of that water evaporate out of there. They don't have to be totally dry. Still having that resinous tackiness is perfect. So then, doesn't matter what size jar you have. This is one of the great things about this. However big your jar is, fill it 3/4 full. You don't have to pack it in there, just loosely full with plant material. And then you're going to fill the rest with oil. So if you have a little tiny jar or a great big jar, it doesn't matter because you're going to use the same ratio. This part does matter, and when you pour in your oil, as you're doing this, and it's happening like that, going blub, 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 and it's making a bunch of bubbles in there. You can pour it a lot slower if you're more cautious and patient than I am. I'm gonna get this pretty darn full right now. I'm giving it some taps to try to get the air bubbles to come to the surface. Next, you will take a chopstick. You can use anything. Chopsticks are just really long and narrow, so they're great to put in there. If you don't have a chopstick, the back end of a wooden spoon works, or if you have a smaller thing, a smaller utensil. So now I just kind of go through and just sort of gently push and see if any more air bubbles come to the surface. And go around slowly around the edge. We'll take that out. And now we're gonna fill this up to the total absolute very brim. The idea here is that you want no air when you seal this off, because air adds to that oxidation process, which leads to your oil going rancid. So this is a good thing to do someplace that you don't mind getting oil on, or have a towel underneath that's okay to get oil on. So put your lid on, and then now the test is to turn it over and see if you get any air bubbles. You can see there's a pretty big bubble right here. It's about the size of a quarter. You want that bubble to be smaller than the size of a dime. So take the lid off, add a little more oil. Do it slowly this time, because if you put a chopstick in here, it's all going over the edge. It's nice to have the mason jars lids that you can then kind of slide on there and smush any little bit of air out. Lid on. Lid on. There it goes. Turn it over. See what kind of bubbles you have. One little tiny bubble that is smaller than, can you see that right? It moves as I try to turn it. There's just one little tiny bubble. Always, always, always label your jars. You might think you're gonna remember what this is or what day you did it, but if you unless you're really good at keeping track and remembering things, or don't do very many projects, you will forget. You probably tell, but I can tell by looking at it that that's calendula. But there are plenty of like green leafy things that if I put in a jar and I don't label it, you have no idea what it is. And a lot of times those things go down the drain because I don't want to use the wrong kind of plant for the wrong kind of thing. So label, 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 or all that effort is for naught. Oh, and then to use this, you can so you want to let it sit. I put it in direct sunlight. Everybody has different ideas. I love the sun's energy and then the moon's energy, infusing all that into the oil. You want to put something underneath it, a plate or something, because as it warms up, the oil will, I forget what the word is, it will kind of like eke out the sides a little bit and slough off. Don't be alarmed that you'll then get a bigger air bubble. That's fine. That's like from the oil leaching out and the contracting and expanding with the temperatures. Don't open it. Once you open it, you're actually letting air in, right? That happening is oil leaving. It's no air getting in, so that's fine. Leave it sealed until you're ready to strain it. Minimum 2 weeks, ideally a month. Fine if it goes longer. Strain it out with a mesh strainer. And then you can just use the oil, like this oil from right now, I'm just rubbing on my skin, or you can make it into a salve, and you can check out my salve making video. All right, have a great day.